Because how do you literally stay steadfast inside and come out like I'm ready to hit the ground running?
I said, you know what? I got a 2-year vacation. I don't have to worry about no grocery shopping. People shopping for me. I don't have to worry about cooking no food. I got a chef who's cooking. It's nasty now, but they cooking or whatever. Matter of fact, these corrections officers are providing security for me to be great. I used to teach classes. I used to, when I was there, we broke the record for the guys getting a GED because I knew how to relate to them. I'm academically gifted. I remember everything I learned in school. I used to tutor calculus in college. You know, I was teaching them how, you know, when you get out, this is how you can actually invest in real estate without having any credit, without having any money, without having any experience.
Right. Dave, like,
my hairline is just holding up. You gotta have real faith. You know,
actually, that's the real lesson, right?
Seriously.
On this broken road, you gotta be willing to build a street of gold. But you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss.
Yo, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lessons, Not Losses, Never Take the L. I'm your co-host, Jessica Myers, with the amazing
Hakeem Herring, your real estate partner.
And
Disco Dre, your money, legacy, and life coach. We got a little personality on this episode today because, you know, she doing it up. I'm going to do it up, you know.
Yo, you got to come with it.
You got to come with it. Disco Dre, your money, legacy, and life coach. You know what I mean?
I love it. And today we have with us the amazing Mr. Idris. How you feeling?
I'm doing great. Great.
Or you're more known as the pretty house guy.
Right.
Because it's so crazy because growing up, you always see ugly houses, but you actually want the pretty houses because it took me a while to understand why people want ugly houses.
Right.
And so now it's like, you're like, no, I want the pretty house.
Exactly.
We're going to stick with that.
Exactly. Right.
How did that come to be?
By accident, actually. So I was raised, made straight A's in school, wanted to make $100,000 a year, went to school on an engineering scholarship. I ended up playing basketball and football at North Carolina State. We had a private plane flying all over the world. I'm like, man, I like living like this. So the only problem is they don't draft people to the NBA who average 0.5 points a game.
Oh.
So I knew I didn't have millions in my future. So I picked up this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it just changed my life. I ended up maxing out my credit card on every book in this series. I said, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur and invest in real estate. My dad sent me this no money down real estate course. It was about lease options. And then that's what got me into the game.
Wow. It's very familiar. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, Rich Dad.
Right.
Think
Shout out to Robert Kiyosaki.
Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad, Poor
Right.
Dad.
Yep.
The top two.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you're in real estate, right? So
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about what you do in real estate and how you became the pretty house guy.
Yeah, so I have two sides to my business, okay? So the first side is actually the pretty house business. And basically what I do is I acquire and disposition properties utilizing creative financing, whether it's lease options, subject to, or seller financing. Never had a mortgage a day in my life.
Well, break it down for those who don't know what disposition property.
Okay, so what I do is, let's just look at the current state of the market right now. Mm-hmm. You may have a house, $1 million. Interest rates are extremely high. You know, houses at that price point right now, they may not be selling, okay? Now, the owner of the house, they want some type of financial relief because they still have a lot of them do still have mortgages. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is, on the disposition side, I kind of call it the entrepreneur dilemma. There's so many entrepreneurs. They may generate a substantial amount of money in their business. Mm-hmm. What do all of them do in the beginning of their business? They write everything off. So they may have generated $1 million in their business, but it's showing $30,000 of income. Mm-hmm. No lender is going to approve them for $1 million loan. Yeah. I can get them into a house via seller financing. So that's what I do. So I play the role of really a middleman.
The negotiator.
Correct. Yeah. Between individuals who are looking to sell their house and between individuals who are looking to get into a house like that.
Wow.
And that's what I do on the pretty house side. And then I have a cash flow strategy, which is shared living investing.
Tell
and
us
that
about
right
that,
now,
man.
that right
that's
there,
interesting.
yeah, that's really a game changer right there.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to control houses all the way from affordable housing all the way up to mansions in Buckhead. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we do with that is I have kind of two models. One, I will acquire it via creative financing, or I'll do rental arbitrage. And what I do with that is I will actually lease a house and then sublease it by renting out the room. So what I'm able to do is create multifamily income with a single family residence. And for most people, that is an easier way to be able to acquire real estate.
How did you come up with this strategy? Because one of the things I like about real estate, and I'm an advocate of creative real estate investing, and I feel real estate is one of the few industries that allow you multiple different ways to be creative and make a living, a substantial living. How did you come up with this, the strategy, or what led you to that direction?
So for some of you who don't know my story, I used to run a medical practice. I had a medical practice with offices in Raleigh, Charlotte, Greenville, Columbia, Williamston, Anderson, Atlanta, as well as Marietta. We're doing between $60,000 to $100,000 a week. I had a staff over 300. We had thousands of patients. Well, February 18th, 2018, I had a condo in Midtown, huge knock on my door, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was Fulton County Sheriff. I opened the door, 3 big guys had guns pointing at me.
What?
They wanted to see my hands. I got arrested. So what happened was there was individuals who were actually putting in fake documentation, and we were billing on them. And with me being the owner of the company, I took the fall.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I ended up getting arrested, go down to Greenville. My bond was set up $250,000. I ended up bonding out. They said, I negotiated, I did it. My attorney negotiated a plea bargain with the Attorney General of the state of South Carolina, where it said I had to shut down my business, but they'll give me 6 months to pay back $400,000. I just had to plead guilty. The problem is I went broke. Same time I was going through a divorce. I mean, I just lost everything.
Wow.
So while I was in prison, so I got sentenced to 5 years in prison, which I did 2 years in prison. When I got out, I had nowhere to go because I got out 6 months early. I had to stay in South Carolina. Yeah. So I rented out a room. And then from there, I met the individual who actually owned the house. Yeah. And I said, I know a little bit about real estate. We should do some deals. We started stereotyping me. I said, you maybe want to Google me. Yeah. And then he did that. And then he found, I know a lot about real estate. So from there, I was doing, things creatively, because my number one thing coming out of prison, I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to make some money? Yeah. I went to one of these staffing agencies that pay every single day, and you do all this blue collar work, and they say you'll make about $55 at the end of the day. And I said, no, that's not going to cut it. So
not making $100,000 a week.
No, right. So what I did was I put on my creative hat. So it's crazy. One of the correctional officers gave me a car to drive. So what I did was...
That's our relationship.
Yeah. So what I did a lot in prison. I used to teach. I had an expense account, all this stuff. But nonetheless, one of the things that I did was I used to pay people to put out bandit signs for me. Mm-hmm. So I used to pay them $2 a sign. So what I did was I called every single bandit sign and I said, how much do you pay your person to put out the sign? And I undercut the market. So I said, look, give me $50 for gas money, $1 per sign. I need a minimum 200 signs. So I made $1,000 in 3 days. So now I have some liquidity. And then through that, I just, it was in the middle of the pandemic or whatever. So I just started doing my lease option strategy. And within 3 weeks, I made $8,000. And then I just never looked back.
Man.
Wow.
Man, this is like...
But this is serious, man. Like creative financing, but...
Creative in finance.
Right.
Like you do creative financing for helping people purchase their largest asset, but you also creatively, because it is often hard to work your way from the 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000. It's like you got to build your way out to fly out. And you thought creatively on multiple levels.
Man.
Right.
Your story is incredible. This show was Lessons Not Losses, right? And you just told us a very powerful story about having it all, so to speak.
Right.
You had it all. You had a big business, big operation, and you lost it all like that.
Right.
How do you recover from that? How do you bounce back from that?
It's really just the power of the mindset as well as skill set. My background was engineering, finance, and healthcare. So with that being said, I just started to reverse engineer the greatest and safest wealth building aspects of real estate. So let me give you an example. One of the things that I know is when it comes to being able to, start from scratch, you have to really start putting on your thinking cap. And the thing that I always think about is, okay, what problem is it that needs to be solved? And then I'll figure out a way to, get it done. Like, for example, right now, we are in people my age. So I'm 44 years old. Okay. Most of the people I went to college with make between $100,000 and $250,000 a year. They're engineers. So with that being said, they're in that sandwich generation. They're taking care of their children as well as their parents. If you look at retirement savings in your 401k, which most of them are doing, they need to save between 2.5 and 6.25 million to live off of 4% interest to maintain their standard of living, where they're trying to pay for their kids to go to school. We got rising inflation. A lot of their parents are getting aging, so they have to provide some assistance for their parents as well. So a lot of them, they're seeking what are some opportunities we can utilize to be able to create financial independence, because it's all on me.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them, the first generation, successful people. And with that being said, I just started thinking about it. So, you know what? This business model that I'm doing can actually help them create financial independence, not over a period of 10, 15, 20 years. I'm talking about 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's instead of relying on compound interest, because compound interest, it takes time.
Takes time.
Yeah.
We're looking at the velocity of money, cash flow. Think about what I do. I was telling somebody, they were looking to purchase an investment property. I said, now look, let's just run some numbers. Let's just say hypothetically you're looking for a $300,000 house. If that's not your primary, you got to put 20% down, which is $60,000, right?
Exactly.
When you're doing the method that I do, let's just hypothetically say it's a 4-bedroom house. You should net about $1,500 a month, which is good compared to a regular rental. 1,500 times 12 is $18,000 a year. 18,000 divided by that 60,000, 2,613. That's about 30% ROI, which is good.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what I would tell them to do if they wanted to create financial independence, I would do rental arbitrage, because I know with 60,000 I can control 8 houses. 8 times 1,500 is $12,000 a month. 12,000 times 12 months. Now I have $144,000 rather than $18,000. And then the thing is, I'm not subjecting myself to too much risk, especially someone who's like me, who's just starting off. I couldn't afford to take those risks. So what I did was I controlled that. I didn't own the asset, I controlled it, and I was able to receive, the dividends from that by being able to structure things.
Now, this was, I'm presuming, before Airbnb and all that became popular.
Oh no, this is after.
Oh, so
What's going on right now?
I was like, did landlords mind was it a big deal?
Yeah, so the thing is, you tell them what they need. So I'm going to show you a way in which you're going to get guaranteed cash flow. You're never going to have to worry about an eviction. I'm going to take care of all maintenance and repairs. You get to keep all the tax benefits. You get the mortgage paid down. You get all the equity upside potential of the house.
This leverage.
Yeah.
The game is leverage.
Yeah. And that rental arbitrage strategy is powerful. Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people utilize the rental arbitrage strategy for Airbnb.
That's where I got it from.
Yeah. They use it for Airbnb.
Because that's all Airbnb did, technically.
Yeah. So what I do now is Airbnb, the operators, the larger ones, they have more sophisticated systems in place. I study those systems and then I bring them over to my market.
Yeah.
No, our market is so unsophisticated right now, and then you're able to kick tail like that. Like, for example, I have, I'm going back to my pretty houses. Yeah. Right now, we have a mansion in Buckhead, okay? It's a $3 million house. It was sitting on the market for about 18 months. So my partner and I, we went up to the gentleman and said, look, right now, it's kicking your tail making this mortgage payment. All of the upkeep for this house is very expensive. Yeah. I said, what if we can turn this vacant house into an income-producing asset until the market levels off to where you're able to sell this house? And then with that, I don't even do the rental arbitrage, but that's too much risk. That's like $20,000 a month payment. Yeah. So instead what we do is I do profit sharing with the owner. Wow. Now I'm not coming out of pocket at all for anything whatsoever.
So you put a tenant in there?
Yeah. So we do is we rent out. So
I'll cut you in so that I don't have to worry about the $20,000, but you understand that whether they pay the $20,000 a month or not.
Yeah. No. So the way it works is this house has 7 bedrooms. Okay. This is a very beautiful house. My target market are people who live in condos like in Buckhead or Midtown. They're already paying $3,000 a month. And then they're probably paying an additional $1,500. So instead of saying that condo, right now we're in the Instagram culture and everything. Now they can live like this.
But they don't mind staying in a shared space. Because most times when I think about that concept of rent the room, that's more like, instead of this house being drug infested, we'll let people stay. I didn't think like that would be in the pretty.
It's an ensuite. So every single bedroom has its own bathroom. In there, there's a swimming pool. There's 2 levels with kitchens. There's a home theater. There's a co-working space. There's a weight room in there. They have concierge service. You have security. You have a cleaner that comes.
Like an episode of MTV.
privatized.
It's like being on MTV with a whole bunch of
MTV.
people.
So does somebody clean up the common areas or
Every other day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's different.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
different than renting a room.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was like, because
Right.
normally I hear about this concept when it's renting.
Yeah, we got another house right now for people who are recovering from cosmetic procedures. So you got to think outside the box. I'm about to do another. I'm gonna pitch one to think about doing a concept right now where ladies, when they deliver their children, usually they have to stay in the hospital 48 to 72 hours for observation. Now they got to be thrown back into the fire. What if you can go somewhere for like a week to where you can just relax, recover, do all that Zen stuff and everything.
Or maybe provide a nanny or a doula or something to go with.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta be creative. I mean, I have so many concepts that we can do based off of this business model.
Let me ask you this, because I'm hearing this more and more in the industry, right? This the room share. It's even going to a level where I'm hearing about multiple beds in a room. Have you tried that strategy?
Yeah, so for the affordable housing model.
Okay.
So these are individuals who get disability or SSI.
Mm-hmm.
So these individuals, especially in Atlanta, they can't afford their own room. So we do put them to where it's in a shared space. However, here's the thing about it. My value proposition to them is you'll never be able to stay in a house this nice based off your income. So that's our value proposition to them. And then we always put it into areas, low crime, public transportation. Yeah. So all of your amenities are right there on location, accessible for you.
So somebody who's used to walkable areas or wants walkable areas or things like that.
Yep.
I love this concept.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize this was all into the pretty houses.
Yes, indeed.
Right. This is my cash flow model.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful mind.
Because it's like who you are anywhere. Because, I mean, normally the question that we ask, but it feels like we covered it. Because who you are anywhere is who you are everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So literally, it's like from the person who was determined. I mean, even in the medical practice, to build it that great, you're just like, look, I got the time. Because how do you literally stay steadfast inside and come out like I'm ready to hit the ground running? Like how did that transition? What fortitude did you have to have in you during that time?
It was just preparation. So one of the things that was a blessing is that, it's your mindset. I said, you know what? I got a 2-year vacation. I don't have to worry about no grocery shopping, people shopping for me. I don't have to worry about cooking no food. I got a chef who's cooking. It's nasty now, but they cook or whatever. Right. I got people who are washing my clothes for me. Matter of fact, these corrections officers are providing security for me to be great. All of them, they're doing this for me. Yeah. I used to teach classes. I used to, when I was there, we broke the record for the guys getting a GED because I knew how to relate to them. I'm academically gifted. I remember everything I learned in school. I used to tutor calculus in college. So I was able to come in and I was able to help a lot of those young men be able to, get their GED certifications. I taught another class on real estate investing. I was teaching them how, when you get out, this is how you can actually invest in real estate without having any credit, without having any money, without having any experience. I taught another class based off psycho-cybernetics called Personal Prison Break. Because the real prison is in here.
That's right.
Yep.
That's the real prison.
Think about it. It's not what you see, it's how you see it. It's all perspective. Yeah. And here the cliche, but he's a prime example of saying, okay, I know I got this 2-year, it's a 2-year vacation now. That's a different way to look at it.
Yeah, it's, I kind of tell people is, if you're not pursuing your dreams, you are incarcerated. You're incarcerated by fear. You're incarcerated by doubt. You're incarcerated by anything that is preventing you from taking steps towards getting to that ideal destination, wherever your finish line is.
How did you deal with because I can only imagine, knowing a lot of people and then having that happen. How did you deal with the comeback of naysayers or the community or,
the disbelievers? And
Yeah.
You know what? This is funny. When I was there, I said, all I got to do is get back to Atlanta. So all I got to do is get back to Atlanta. Atlanta is such a special place. For me, it was easy. So I think very strategic. The fastest way, especially if you do have something happen to you like that, the fastest way to establish credibility is to get a referral from somebody who has established credibility. And then that's all I did. You know, there's people that I know, you know, and another thing is, you know, I'm just fully transparent about everything.
Yeah.
If you look up, my first post coming back on social media was a picture of my prison ID. That was the first thing that happened.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you put it out there, what can they say?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's no point in running from it. That's part of your story.
I think
that's powerful.
That's really the key. Like accepting the things that has happened to you in life that happened that was bad. You're like, hey, no one can talk about me, right?
But a lot of people run from that.
They run from it, but but he's accepted. Like, hey, I've made mistakes. I've been in prison. I've done this. I've done that. But that's not really who he really is.
And it doesn't define me.
Yeah, it's not who he is. Just things that he might have gone through, but that's not who he is.
Because so many times people don't make move A because they're afraid of move 26.
Wow.
And so they don't make move A.
Right.
Because it's like, or 1. Because they feel like down the line. So that's very interesting. You're just like having gone through it and it's just like, I'm still here, still rebuilding, still able to reacclimate. Because the fear of not wanting anything to happen and see, I knew it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to power through it.
Right. Yep.
That is an amazing mindset.
Yeah. Mindset. Almost every episode talked about mindset, right?
And that's the crazy part because most people, you know, we host events. A lot of times they want to get to entrepreneurship and they want to hear the numbers. They want to hear the how. And every book that I've ever read, everything that I've ever thought about is always starting with the mindset.
Right. Yeah.
And knowing that you can. Because
exactly.
even how clever you were, like you said, to call, just even putting up signs, that's the way to get quick cash.
Yeah.
Like being quick enough to think about that on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, I could go at my own pace. I did it late at night, so during the day, it allowed me to do my real estate.
Man.
And then it's cash flow. It's instant cash flow.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Man. I would ask, because we always ask, you know, about the loss, you know, how you rebounded, and like your story is just incredible. Because I've known you, maybe I've known of you for a couple of years now, and got a chance to meet you and get to know you, but I never knew your story.
Right.
So just hearing your story, and I'm just floored at this point because just the resilience of going through something, and to be honest, we all have family members. Like in my family, I have family members, my brothers who've been, you know, in the system in different situations. But to hear your story, how you dealt with that challenge and came back out swinging, you know, like
swinging.
for real, like came back out like this isn't going to define me.
Right.
This isn't going to stop me. And you're moving forward and really establishing yourself as as the go-to person in our industry, like a real voice of our industry is extremely powerful, and I commend you on that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm sure you've inspired some people who are actually listening right now.
Yeah,
you know,
those
people who use excuses of why they can't.
Right.
Hearing your story allows them to say, you know what, I can.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I was like, what's on the horizon next? Like, where is the vision grow? What's the expansion?
So what I'm really excited about is this luxury collaborative living. No one is doing it. And it's such an amazing opportunity.
What's that, man? You got
man. But you notice how like his whole spirit just lit up.
Yeah.
And then look, ours was like, tell us.
But it sounds like pretty houses on steroids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
An island destination.
No, it's
like
just
a beach.
I was like, you got Punta Cana.
Yeah.
No, it's just what I was just describing to you. You have so many people right now who have houses. So let's think about them. They're non-performing assets. You have this non-performing asset and it's eating them alive because it's so expensive to maintain that mortgage.
I know.
Because the thing is, if you got a luxury house, you can't just let it sit. You have to have the electricity on. You have to have landscaping. You have to have pest control.
Right.
You have to have security. Those are some heavy expenses. Now, if you got plenty of money, it's all good. But what if you don't?
Yeah.
We can transform those into an income-producing asset.
That's the key.
Where do you think I get referrals from? I say, look, Hakeem, do you have any expired listings? Sure. Because here's the thing, check this out. Let's just say you get a referral from an agent. You know, let's say the agent wasn't able to sell the house. now there's like a negative view of the agent. So now the agent can come back to their client and say, look, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, look, because of the market, high interest rates, all of this stuff right now, this is not the optimal time to be able to sell your house. However, I do have a way to where what we can do is we can stop the bleeding. We can turn this house that you're spending all this money on month in, month out,
right,
into an income producing asset.
Right. Yeah. Because it's not an asset, right? Like if it's taking money
it's
out your
liability.
It's a liability.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Rich dad, poor dad. That's one of the things that clarified it for me, because we start talking about home ownership, people immediately think about their primary residence. And home ownership and your primary residence is not the same as far as asset versus liability if it's costing you.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that you're talking about. Like, hey, if you own your home, yes, but if you're paying a mortgage, it's costing you. So it's a liability. It's not an asset.
Yeah.
So you're saying, how do I turn this liability into an asset, which may come from sacrifice at first?
For sure.
But then this is how I turn it around to create cash flowing engines.
Yeah. And the best part about it, when the house goes back on the market, who's going to list it? That agent.
For sure.
Right.
That agent's provided so much value.
Yeah.
I wish people will understand that. I tell people all the time, you can't chip off a brick. Like, equity is cool, but I tell people you got to play 3 cards right. You got to play the ace, which is cash flow, right? You got to have king, which is cash on hand, and you got to have queen, which is leverage. If you don't play all 3 of those together, you're going to jack up your financial hand.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool to have the equity and everything like that, but you can't chip off a brick and live your lifestyle. So what he's doing is actually like the most important thing, income producing asset. Yeah. We need cash flow.
How to turn it into an income producing asset.
Right.
Because people can have it, like you said, they can have the cards in their hand, but not know how to make the play.
Right.
Right.
And that's why it's important.
Right. It's just so many things that you can do, because I can show somebody how to send their kids and have one house that they don't even own, be able to pay for their kids to go to college.
Yeah.
Man.
I had a conversation with him at the event.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I mean, I'm always a student.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be.
I was like, in what ways do you work with students, or do you have a mentorship program, or?
Yeah, so I do have a coaching program. And then with the coaching program, what I do is the whole goal of the program is to help you achieve financial independence, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. We'll find out what is your monthly goal that you're looking for. Then we'll reverse engineer, and I'll tell you exactly how many houses do you need to have in order to produce that for yourself. And then from there, it's just execution.
Man.
So it goes back to take action.
Yeah.
So really, and that's why I tell people, if you want to get started, set the date. Like we're entering 2025. If you haven't set the date for when, because you said in 3 days, like I said, normally we ask the question of how do you rebuild if you lose it all again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you had to restart over again. And maybe I can ask, would you change anything about what you did from getting started? But just how creative and the ingenuity was to get you to that point of getting out the hole. Like, if you had to do it today, would you do it the same way, or would you transition it into a different way, especially with emerging technology that's out there now?
Oh, yeah, well, AI.
So what would you do if you lost it all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the lessons that you learned, what lesson would you apply to build it all again?
You know what? So the first thing, my mom sent me $300, Walmart to Walmart Trent. That's all I had. So first thing I did, I went to Walmart, got one of those prepaid cell phones, and then I got the unlimited plan. So that was like $100-some bucks. I was in prison. I'm gonna tell you what I wanted. I wanted to get me a 20-piece wings from Publix, but I couldn't find a ride to Publix, so I had to go to Cookout and get a Cookout tray. That was my first meal. But I probably would do the bandit sign thing, because that provides immediate liquidity.
Yeah.
Immediate liquidity.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of what my long-range goal was, I'll do what I'm doing now, the shared living, because I came out in the middle of the pandemic, and then that's when interest rates were real low. That's when the valuations of the houses were real high. Yeah. So I had to adjust my strategy somewhat during the lease options, but I probably would have went just 100% straight into the shared living. That would probably be the difference.
And it's all in how you market it. Because really, when you create yourself as the middleman, you bring the marketing from either side. So you create a 3-sided marketplace with you dead in the middle.
I mean, even if someone doesn't have money to do the rental arbitrage, you can still partner with landlords.
Yeah.
Say, look, you have a rental. What I do is I help property owners receive more cash flow on their home, can you and I have a conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I love it.
It's beautiful.
You know,
real estate is.
It is, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you the true asset.
Oh, here we go.
The true asset is our 3 intellectual centers, right? Our mind, our heart, and our gut.
Yeah.
And he's a perfect example of using that, because even if 10 years from now he found himself in the same situation, you know what has changed?
His mindset.
Right.
Because that's what I was asking. What would change about what you would do in your process?
Right.
And even that got upgraded. So it's like, this is the iPhone 15.
That's the true asset.
Right.
Yeah. This is the true asset.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
So I was like, what relationships do you feel helped you the most? Because I know it's been a lot of transition, but what relationships personally do you feel like helped sustain you?
Probably the real estate network here in Atlanta, because the thing is, I've never done bad business. I've never done bad. You can't, anyone who knows me, you can't find out one person say, he scammed me, he did this, he did that. Yeah. Not one person. Mm-hmm. So those relationships were able to catapult me. Actually, probably how I know all of y'all. Him. He had some real estate conference, and then he said, "Do you want to speak at it?" I said, "Only if you let me be the last speaker." And then I just told my story, and everything just exploded.
Because I remember you actually from that. That's how we connected years ago. And like they said, I'd known you and known you were a pretty house guy. Just never knew more of the story and what's behind it. Mm-hmm. And that's been so inspirational, because it's like that makes the person who we see stand up even taller.
Oh, wow.
As tall as you are.
Right.
Yeah, we had to adjust the height. But no, how can people find you if they want to get more involved?
Every single social media platform, The Pretty House Guy. That's how you can find me.
Oh, I love it. I love the consistency of the marketing and the framework and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has definitely been a lot about lessons, not losses. Talk about never taking the L and rebounding back like never before.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, you have a strong story of resilience. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jessica Myers. I've been your co-host today with
Hakeem Herring.
With Dre Parker.
Yes, and thank you so much, Mr. Idris, for joining us.
Pleasure.
As always, you got it. Let's get it.
Let's go.
On this broken road, you gotta be willing to build a street of gold. But you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss. Standing under the pressure, you can fold. Gotta go with your gut when lose or draw. But you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss. A loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss.
We learning lessons over here.
Let's go.
We apply pressure when life hits, we never quit. We double down on our effort and then we triple it. From boardrooms to courtrooms to boss blooms, we blow away adversity like a monsoon. So get up, march on, yo, you gotta choose. To stay stuck, don't keep going, cause even winners lose. Sacrifice is the price paid to bear your cross. Learn your lessons in life so you won't take the loss.
On this broken road, you gotta be willing to build a street of gold. But you know a loss ain't nothing but a lesson to a boss. Standing under the pressure, you can fold. Gotta go with your gut when lose or draw. But you know a loss ain't